Natalia looked at her husband and couldn't understand when he became like this. Or maybe he was always like this. She just didn't notice before. Well, now it didn't matter at all. Stas, if we're buying an apartment, we split it in half. Otherwise, I'll take back my share of the money. Don't you think it's unfair that we saved up for the apartment together but sold my grandmother's apartment? It means I'm investing more money, yet we're somehow registering it only in your name, Natalia said impatiently. Stas shrugged indifferently. You're turning out to be so materialistic. Does it really matter whose name the apartment is in? We're a family, and keeping track of who contributed what is beyond the point. I'll say it again. We're a family, okay? Since it doesn't make any difference, why not put it in your name? Stas looked at her bewilderedly. Well, it doesn't make a difference, but I want it that way. No, I won't do it. I'm the head of the household, and the man is always the head, Stas said, getting agitated. He couldn't understand what was happening. Natalia always agreed with whatever he said. He wasn't prepared for this. He didn't anticipate it because he was confident she would agree. Stas, stop it. Equality has been established in our country for a long time now. But either we register the apartment jointly or we don't register it at all. She didn't bring up her final argument in desperation, but it was more valuable. You know very well that we'll have to economize for a while. It's not a big deal. You can skip drinking beer in the evenings for a month, she said. He almost fell down. How could she dare to say such words to him? For 10 years, she always went along with everything he said, but now a voice emerged, undoubtedly influenced by her friend Lena. Stas disliked Lena, it was true, and Alinka couldn't stand her either. He had a feeling that she scanned him with her gaze like a scanner, and whenever they had something, he immediately rushed somewhere. He had no other choice. He really wanted to have a nice, spacious apartment. True, he wanted even more to be the sole owner of it, but maybe he would come up with something later. The main thing was to make Natalia return to her place. God forbid she starts asking where he disappears in the evenings. Why his salary became small. It didn't become small for her. Expenses just increased after he dreamed and met her. But Natalia didn't need to know that. She was perfectly content with him. The house was always clean, clothes ironed, food fresh and diverse. When needed, she never had a headache. Only she was somewhat boring, like a gray mouse. Natalia was ecstatic. She didn't even think she could do it. Women notice everything. And that her husband comes home late at night when he works until 6, and how indifferent he became, and that he considers her a fool, she somehow got used to it. That Stas was her husband, that they were always together, always side by side. But recently she started thinking, what if not? What if it's not like this? What if Stas just up and leaves for someone else? Her heart ached at the mere thought of it, and of course, she shared her anxieties with her friend Lena. If something like that happens, how should I go on living? She asked. Lena snorted. Exactly, living, not just existing, as you're doing now, Stasichka. Who's Stasichka? Oh, it's disgusting to even look at you. Why do you crawl before him? When was the last time he gave you flowers? But flowers are an unnecessary expense. You know what? We want to buy a new apartment. Flowers are an expense, and dinners for Stasichka at a restaurant are nitrates, Lena continued. Natalia, don't you understand anything at all? Your Stasichka loves only himself and will never make any sacrifices for you. It's you who's the idiot. You work 2 jobs, earn 3 times more than him, and still think you owe him something. Where did you lose yourself? Remember who you were. Remember the guys who chased after you. Wasn't Pasha worth anything? When you got married, it's as if someone erased you. Well, enough already. I come to you for advice, and you. Do you even listen to my advice? He's the only one I have. Change your husband. Let him understand that you have rights, not just responsibilities to your family. There's something called self-respect. If you annoy him, he'll simply kick you out of the new apartment. Looks like you're planning to put everything in his name too. But he's a man, the master. Lena grabbed the whole picture, apparently. She was indeed an idiot who examined her life from all angles, and it turned out that in many ways, if not entirely, Lena was right. Natalia realized it when she heard her husband come back, looked at the clock. It was 2 a.m. He didn't bother getting up. Although she always jumped up, heated up dinner for him, this time she just turned towards the wall. The apartment was truly nice, with large windows and a sunny side. Stasek walked around with a satisfied look, stopped by the window. I'm really great, aren't I? Natalia couldn't hide her smirk. He noticed it. What, are you smiling? Are you implying that you alone could have bought such a place? You wouldn't even have thought of having something else. Natalia felt scared and hurt, but she remained silent. She hadn't detached herself from the fact that she had held her ground during the apartment purchase. The main thing is that Stas's dream came true, and now he will enjoy being at home rather than somewhere else. It had been a whole year like that. Natalia even brought up the topic of having a child again, but her husband widened his eyes. Natasha, what child are you talking about now? Don't mention anything about age and late pregnancies. Can't you see that our walls are practically empty? We need to buy everything and furnish the place? She just sighed. 2 years had passed, and the apartment was unrecognizable. Natalia took on multiple part-time jobs just to afford everything they needed. But Stas started disappearing again, only this time he would come home in the morning. She knew that something was about to happen, something that would completely change her life, and that event didn't keep her waiting. One day, leaning back on a chair after dinner, he said, Natasha, I'm tired of you. I can't stand having such a mouse like you around anymore, or rather, I'm not leaving. I want you to move out of the apartment. I'll soon have a young wife, and I need space. Don't you care where you live alone? Maybe it was because she was already prepared, but not a single muscle twitched on Natash's face. Well, it's your right, of course. I'm not going to keep you by force, but I won't move out either. This is my apartment, so I'll continue living here. His eyes even widened at such audacity. Actually, half of the apartment is legally mine. Yes, only half. I need to live, so don't go anywhere. And you should listen to your husband. As if I, a successful man, would wander around renting. Natasha stood up. Stas, I won't discuss this anymore. The conversation is over. I'll put your things on the couch. I hope you can pack them yourself. She walked out, leaving him sitting there with his mouth open. After contemplating for a while on how his passion would react to such a turn of events, he chased after Natasha. How dare you? You have no one, and you never will. And we need somewhere to live. The woman shrugged. Go ahead, live. I'm not stopping you. Live wherever you want. Stas even stomped his foot. You'll regret it, and I promise you, I'll sell my half of the apartment to some non-Russian. Then you'll sing a different tune. Natasha was sure he was just trying to intimidate her, although she had doubts deep down. The divorce went in the best traditions of a movie genre. Stas even decided to split the dishes, all while making claims and insults. His young lover also voiced her dissatisfaction, and Natasha had to listen to it because she went everywhere with Stas. When it was finally over, Natasha took a breath, but as it turned out, not for long. A couple of months later, Stas showed up. "Well, haven't you thought about vacating the premises yet?" she asked. "No need for that. I found a buyer for my half, and I'll sell it tomorrow. Goodbye, and I hope you regret it." He rushed out the door. Natasha sank onto a chair. God, what did she do to deserve this? Why does Stas, with whom she lived for so many years, treating her so poorly? Even during the divorce, she didn't plot anything against him. 3 days later, when she opened the door to her apartment, Natasha realized that someone was inside. She immediately felt unwell, which meant Stas had kept. "So tomorrow morning you go, write a statement, and we're going on vacation. Where? We'll decide that later. The main thing is that while you're at work, I'll buy everything we need. In a week, you'll be tanned and radiant." Angela nudged Stas in the side. "Look at her. Such a coat. Oh God, I want one like that." Stas grimaced. Angela's demands were so high that the money from selling half of the apartment vanished into thin air. "But I can't say that, it would start a fuss. But you're a man." Then he cautiously took her by the elbow, and they turned around. Stas froze, and Angela fell silent. The woman was pregnant, and furthermore, it was Natasha. She also recognized her ex-husband, and the person to whom he was selling half of the apartment also recognized him and immediately positioned himself between his wife and Stas. Stanislav made an unpleasant grimace. "So you turned out to be cleverer than it seemed. I thought I was getting a tenant to avoid losing the apartment. But you—" He didn't have a chance to finish because he was knocked down by a powerful punch. Pasha leaned over him. "Never, never in your life even look in the direction of my wife. And if you dare say anything else, I'll break your neck. Understand?" Stas nodded weakly. Pasha straightened up, took the frightened Natasha by the elbow again, and they headed towards the exit. Stas forcefully addressed Angela. "Did you see that?" "No, did you?" she replied, looking at him strangely. "Will you testify? I'll have them arrested." Angela looked at him in a peculiar way and then answered, "Well, maybe. Without me, you're no better than a woman. And from what I understand, you're out of money. So you're not interesting to me anymore. What else can you possibly offer?" Anna stepped over his legs and walked towards the exit of the store. Stas reached out to grab her arm, but then lowered it and sat on the floor silently. If you enjoyed the story, I really hope for your support with a thumbs up. Thank you and all the best.